saw that Kyrie's going to be going down to Birmingham for continue his rehab.
Yeah.
Is that an exciting step for him, for you guys?
It is. This is definitely exciting for him. It's been a long journey. Anytime you have an injury like he had, tearing your ACL, the work that it takes to get back, and we'll all be watching. And he'll continue to progress from here. But we're all excited for him.
And just how do you think he's just feeling emotionally, just being this close to coming back, getting his chance to go out to Birmingham and really show how far he's come?
I'm sure it's a number of different emotions that he's going through. Probably, grateful to have an opportunity to get back on the floor and play competitively. I'm sure he's looking back at all the rehab and all the people that have supported him, Teaspoon and Jana. Our medical staff have worked diligently alongside with Kyrie to get him back on the floor. So I'm sure it's a lot going through his mind. But at the end of the day, he'll get on the floor and start to feel more normal as time progresses.
Is it because, I remember last year when he showed up after the surgery, everybody was hugging him and excited. Maybe just insight into why everybody seems to like him so much and be rooting for him so hard.
A lot of it has to do with just who Kyrie is as a person, his character. He's such a fun guy to be around. He's loving. But then at the same time, he was very young when he came into our organization, one of the youngest guys in the draft. So being that young and having to go through those type of situations, you got to grow up pretty quickly. But we rally around him because of who he is. He treats everybody with respect. He's always smiling, always having a good time, and we just want the best for him.
Coach, is there a set of games that he's going to stay down in Birmingham, or is it just see how it goes? Basically?
Yeah, there's a schedule for him to be there for a little bit, and then we'll get him back after he finishes his schedule in Birmingham.
And just how much of the discussion hasn't been just trying to figure out a way to get CJ out of this little rut he's going through right now, get him some better shots, that type of thing?
Yeah, CJ will be fine. A part of it is he's been under the weather, so he's been fighting that. But throughout the course of the season, there's times that you go through this as a player, and CJ will fight his way out of it, and we'll help him.
And how much of it is just doing stuff to kind of take the pressure off him, like using him as a screener with Z or playing him with Jose, get him off the ball? How much do you think that can help him as well?
I don't think it's any of those things, getting him off the ball or with the ball. CJ's been doing this for a long time. I just think that, these things happen throughout the course of the season where you'll have moments where you're playing great. He's played in every game, have been here almost every practice. And then, he got sick, so that kind of weighed into it. He'll come out of this.
Coach, you're rewatching the game film from yesterday's game. Did anything stand out to you from when, say, the point you guys were up 18 and all of a sudden you found yourselves down 8?
I thought we let our foot off the gas. I said it in the media session right after the game. We had a chance to sort of dominate the game, and we did that for 3.5 quarters. But our mindset, midway through the third quarter, we were up 17-18 and lose that quarter by 1 point. Those are areas where we have to be better. Nothing against Houston, but you play against better teams, and that game is harder to win. So that's something we'll clean up and something we'll continue to look at.
How much do you embrace conversations with Griff and Trajan and your staff about what's working, what's not, what rotations, what we have to kind of evolve into?
We're always talking about it. Where are we as a team? Where do we want to go, and how to get there? What's working for us? What's some things that we can adjust to? So it's ongoing conversations that's happening throughout the course of the season, and that's what makes. I think that's what will make us special, is that we have an opportunity to be a really good team. We'll continue to have conversations about it and put the best guys on the floor.
When you look at a player like Ja Morant, what's just the key to defending a guy like that tomorrow night?
Well, he's dynamic in the open floor with space. He's always pushing in transition. He's shooting the 3-ball better. At least it looks like. He's a tough cover, but we have to bring a physical mindset when he's on the floor. Can't let him get easy baskets going to the hole, and just make it tough for him on the defensive end. We have to make him guard as well.
Coach, are you generally pleased with the rotations that you made changes to yesterday? Do you see that sticking maybe?
Well, we continue to look at it. I don't know if necessarily I'm pleased or not pleased. It's just, it's early in the season. I do like where we are as a team, and I think we'll continue to improve. Our rotations will continue to improve as the season progresses.
Because of Ja and Zion coming in the same draft, and I guess maybe even Memphis last year going from like a 9 to like a 2 or something like that, are you okay if people say this is maybe like a measuring stick, or they want to kind of draw comparisons to what they are, what you could be, or is it just another game?
You know, I don't have any control of what people say or who they compare. We try to keep our focus on the things that we can control, which is our preparation, making sure that we execute on both ends of the floor. And I know that sounds like a cliche, but look, people are going to say things, and that's fun. That's a part of what makes this sport so unique, is that our fans pay attention, they're smart. We love it, but at the end of the day, we have to keep our focus here on our game plan, what's going to help us win the game.
Just in general, what's your philosophy as a coach as far as, being flexible, being willing to make changes versus wanting to stay consistent, wanting to work through things?
Yeah.
How do you find that balance between that?
I think that there's, always a foundation that we have to have, a way in which we want to play, a style in which we want to play, certain standards that we have defensively, and then we'll make adjustments around that. But there is a level of consistency that the guys need, that we want to make sure that we implement, that we have, but then we'll make adjustments accordingly from there.
I know last year we just talked about Kyra going to the G League. I know last year, Jose and Trey and Jackson went down there. Is there a chance Dyson goes to get some minutes, or is it just going to kind of be wait and see?
It's kind of wait and see. We'll see how the season goes. And right now, Dyson is still extremely important, even in practices. And whenever he touches the floor in games, at this point, he's been helping us. So there may be a time where, that could happen, but we don't know yet.
Thanks.
Thank you, Coach.
When you look at just these 13 games as a whole, offensively as a team, where are you guys at compared to where you want to be?
I think we looked at the first 10 games. I haven't looked at the last 3 games to see where we rank overall, but I think at one point we were top 10 offense and defense. Then we had a little slide the last few games defensively. I think that's where we want to be. We want to be a top 10 offensive team and a top 10 defensive team, and I think that's a staple for having a really good season, winning a lot of games and getting the chance to win or play at home in the playoffs. But I think we've had some slippage. Obviously, we've had some changes in our roster and our starting lineups, and we've had some injuries and stuff like that. And we've had a tough schedule, but we got to be more consistent defensively, and I think that'll help our offense. But when you don't get stops and you got to play in half court, the pace is slower. There's a lot of things that go into that. But I think considering the circumstances, I think we're 7-6 right now. We got a little home standing where we could try to make some leeway, try to get some wins before we go back on the road.
What about particularly with that starting unit? What type of progress do you think you guys have made on the offensive end?
Yeah, I think we're getting better, getting more accustomed to spacing. Willie is doing a great job of changing up some of the flows of the offense and figuring out ways to put me off the ball, put Z on the ball, set screens, movement, and I think I'm doing a better job of calling games as of late. Pace has to be better. We got to do a better job of recognizing time and score, things like that, when to get a 2-for-1, etc. But considering we've had a lot of influxes and changes, I think that we've performed pretty well. We've got off to some slow starts. Outside of last night, I think we played pretty well in the first quarter, but we've gotten off to some slow starts and put our bench in tough spots. So we got to be better as a starting unit. We got to come out with more energy. We got to come out more efficiently with the way we play, with the way I play. And I think that'll help our bench be able to create more separation in games.
How different is that for you being the screener and pick and roll action and doing that more with you and Z, kind of you being the screener, him being the ball handler?
No, I think it's helpful for our offense in terms of spacing. Obviously, Z is a very talented player. He makes a lot of great decisions for us, but he's also a magnet in terms of the defense. He's a guy who creates a lot of opportunities for other people because of teams having to recognize where he's at on the court. So I think that helps. Obviously, I can create space, we can create closeouts, and they have to kind of respect me and respect him, obviously, as a threat offensively. So I think that's something that we'll continue to get better at. I think he ran a lot of stuff with JJ where he was doing handoffs and things like that. And I think the next 68 games, or whatever the case may be, I'll play better, I'll shoot better, and I think that'll open up our offense a lot in terms of spacing, but also in terms of driving angles for everybody else.
Is this where maybe they can lean into you? It's a guy who's been there and done that, understanding that it does take a little bit of time to figure out the roles and the gelling and things like that?
Yeah, it's an adjustment period for all of us that we're going through, and then we have to continue to adjust because there's injuries. There's things that are going to occur where our lineups are going to change. Coach has to adjust with the rotations because some guys that are coming off the bench may be starting. So there's a lot of stuff that we have to tinker with, but I think the more we play together, the more comfortable we get, and I think you see it in spurts. And as the season goes on, we'll be able to sustain those spurts for longer periods of time to where we'll play better basketball. It'll look better, spacing will be better, and we'll be more efficient with our movements. Right now, we're still trying to figure things out, just like a lot of the league. But for us, it's more spacing, getting used to each other, and then me figuring out what opportunities I should put us in offensively, and then continue to talk with Willie about it.
And for you, just what are you saying as far as your shooting numbers, the shots you're getting? What do you think you have to do just to kind of get back to where you're used to being in that area?
Yeah, I don't think I can shoot any worse than I've been shooting. So I think, you look at my career, how I've played, how I've shot historically. I think I'm due for some leveling out on open shots. But I think it's more so taking advantage of opportunities, picking my spots. I think I got some pretty good looks the last couple of games. Very makeable shots. I just didn't make them. But it's more about getting the reps in, and I like the flow of the offense. I like the amount of assists we're getting per game. I like the way we're playing. And my job is to do a lot of different things. So I think obviously scoring is a big part of who I am as a player, and I will be able to do that, and I will make shots. But I got to be good at the other things as well for us to have success in the postseason. I got to be defending. I got to be vocal. I got to be a leader. I got to be able to put us in the right spots. I can't be turning the ball over. So it's the little stuff that I'm really working on. Offense, I'm not too worried about it because I work on my craft. I get in here at night. I do what I'm supposed to do. So I just keep swimming. And you've seen all versions of me at this point. I think it's safe to say that. So I'm comfortable with who I am and what I have to offer as a player. And I think I just focus on the work, and hopefully I feel a little bit better physically, and I think that'll translate to the game.
I know last game it was a point of emphasis to get you next to Jose and have you guys play together a little bit more. Do you think that helps you as well on that end?
I like Jose a lot. I like the way he plays. I love his energy. I love the way he works. He pushes tempo. We look for each other. But it's also, a different look for the other team, right? Like, we can both guard a lot of different positions. He's going to be pesky defender. We can both handle the ball. We can both initiate the offense. And he's not afraid to take and make big shots. So I think that's what we need. We need guys that are going to compete. And I think he brings that different dynamic to us. And I don't know what our plus-minus is, but I would imagine it's pretty good. And that's with me not making any shots. So imagine when I start helping him and being more of a floor spacer for us offensively. I think the game will get easier, and we'll be able to go on more runs, create more separation as a team.
CJ, would you say that Jose is one of the best spark plugs in a team, considering his role?
Absolutely. He brings energy. Obviously, the crowd loves him. It's infectious, the way he plays, the way he pushes. He gets to the basket. He tries to create, for others, and obviously he knows how to hide on defense and create havoc there. So I think it's a lot of different stuff that he brings to us. But I think the story is great, right? Undrafted, the way he's worked and continue to refine himself as a player. I think that's really important. That speaks to his character, but also his work ethic.
Thanks, CJ.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.